Hi everybody, welcome back to the OVACAST.
This is going to be Nick's favorite episode.
What happened is I got the new graphics card, the RX 7600, and I'm using the AV1 encoder for this one. So it's still a bit of a learning curve trying to figure out settings in terms of quality balance versus file size, all this different stuff. And this is the first podcast while I'm recording with that AV1 encoder on OBS. So we
I
don't know
meant
how it's
because
going
it's
to turn
about
out.
video games, but
Oh,
it's the video game episode.
well, that fits too, but basically the AV1 encoder is like supposedly about 30% more efficient in file size for the quality. So I'm having a lot of fun with the graphics card and I'm trying to figure out settings and all this stuff with OBS and the under the Adrenaline software and all that stuff. But there were some things you wanted to talk about with the video game.
Yeah, we're going to do a video game episode.
Yep. So there was some ideas
So
that you had.
what is your first memory of first video game you ever played? Other than that Blueberry one or whatever it was called.
That's a tough one. I think it's either between Tetris on the PC or Super Mario World. I don't know which of the two I played first, but those were my earliest memories of playing video games. Was either Super Mario World or Tetris. Both of which are really fun.
I think I played Super Mario World on the original Game Boy. Remember the brown, or not brown, the gray Game Boys? The big, thickum ones?
Yeah.
I played on one of those. That thing, here's the thing with video games, though, is like when you think about like consoles now, they get like the red ring of, the blue ring or whatever color, like the ring of death type of thing.
Yeah, the Xbox 360
Xboxes had it. I think
they were notorious for that.
Yeah. And you think about that now and how, like, those ones, like, would break. Like, you could breathe on them wrong and they would break, right? But I think about the fact of I put four AA batteries in a 1985 Game Boy, and it probably would still play now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know the planned obsolescence and stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they built it to, like, play games for a long time back then.
Yeah, that's a different, and the cartridges too versus the CDs. The cartridges could last a long time, but if you had enough scratches on the CD, and now they make with the Switch, they have them so teeny tiny that you can lose them easy.
Right.
So easily, like $60, and it's the size of a little bit bigger than like 2 quarters or something, or a $50 basically.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're so small, and they taste bad. Supposedly, people say they put some kind of bitter, so people don't swallow them.
What was the first game that you ever played, you think?
I think it was Mario Brothers on the Game Boy.
Which Mario Brothers one?
The original one.
Oh, the original one.
The original Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Remember, because I know it came out on the Super Nintendo, right? The original one.
Yeah, the original one came out, the Super Mario World, and then there was also Super Mario All-Stars, which was
Super Mario Brother.
Yeah.
The first one.
The first one, that was a redo on Super Mario All-Stars. The original one was on NES.
That's what I'm talking about, is NES. I had an NES first.
Oh, okay.
And I had the original Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, my dad was a big gamer. My dad liked video games. He liked racing games.
That was his favorite genre?
Ridge Racer and the PS1.
What was your favorite racing? Probably Mario Kart, huh?
I like Mario Kart a lot. I like it a lot because it's fun. I just got into that Disney Speedstorm. That one's pretty fun, too. The thing I like about the Mario Kart is you can play by yourself. Disney Speedstorm, you can't play by yourself. You have to play with other people, like, on the internet.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh, I want to do story. As far as I know, I've been playing it for 2 days, but you can't do like a story mode type of thing. You know what I mean?
It looks fun. It does remind me of Mario Kart, but I bet the mechanics are a bit different.
The controls are clunky in my opinion.
Oh, maybe can you change
I don't know. I'm going to have to look into it. You can change vehicles, you can change characters, but it's not as easy as with Mario Kart.
Oh,
where you can just go through and you're like, I want these wheels, I want this car, you know what I mean? As far as I know, like I said, I'm very new to it. And then what was the first game that we played together was Minecraft, no?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, we've played Mario Kart and stuff, but I don't think that was.
Minecraft was fun. Mario Kart was really a lot of fun with you too. I can't wait to play Mario Kart 9 when it comes out
I
on
know.
Switch 2. There's
It's gonna
so
be
much
crazy.
speculation on Switch 2. Like supposedly there's all these specs that have been released, and the RAM is pretty impressive and all the stuff supposedly. But there's all kinds of leaks that happen, and you don't know
Yeah,
till
and
it
at
comes
first
out.
you're like, this isn't that impressive. Like the one we saw the other day, I'm like,
Yeah, it doesn't look all that much better than the original Switch.
right.
But sometimes leaks can be wrong. There's all kinds of ones for consumer electronics that's coming out in a day or two
Yeah.
from now with all the graphics cards, and there's all these leaks and stuff, and who knows. And I'm excited for the next AMD cards. But and then I'm like also excited. This year is going to be a big year for video gaming because we
Yeah.
got the Switch as well.
Yeah, we got the Switch 2 coming out. It's hopefully it'll be backwards compatible with the original Switch games.
That's what I've
Because
heard.
a lot of people were, because of Christmas, they're like, oh, I got my kid the Switch. And people are like, you should have waited. Like, just buy the Switch if you want a Switch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not, I mean, people are still buying DSs and 3DSs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can still play the games and you can still, you're still going to enjoy it regardless. Just get the Switch, and then if you get a Switch 2, then use the original Switch as like a backup or something, or sell it or whatever.
Yeah, the Switch has lasted a long time. I think it's close.
Connor's had his.
I think it's been 10 years or something.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's what I
But
remember.
even so, like, people say, like, oh, this breaks for the controllers. I will say the controllers on the Switch are not great.
Yeah.
Those Joy-Cons are not built to last. Because I think Connor's gone through like 5 or 6 sets of Joy-Cons.
Wow.
I mean, his screen he's had for like 8 years. The part that actually has the main part of the Switch, he's probably had that for like 8 or 9 years.
I wonder if they can be used the same way the Wiimote was used, because I remember playing Resident Evil 4 with the Wiimote, and it was so awesome because you could control it like it was an actual weapon,
Right.
and you could shoot in the direction like as if.
I don't know.
And it was amazing playing that game and using the Wiimote to aim and shoot at the enemies.
They had an attachment too that looked like a gun.
That was so fun because it was really good immersion in the game.
Immersive, yeah.
And I was so much more accurate. Like, I was accurate with the controller before.
Right.
But I was even more accurate. And it's kind of like the mouse, but even better than a mouse, too.
Yeah. I'm never accurate with a mouse. I'm never accurate with the mouse. I can't even catch a ladybug on Coral Island with a mouse.
It can be a bit tricky. I do know there was one of the things you wanted to talk about on this episode. No, I'm jumping back and forth too much.
That's okay.
We're going to talk about the Switch 2, about whether or not it'd be worth it. The rumor is it's going to be like $500.
Yeah, here's the thing with the gaming stuff. Is like, I think to myself, and I'm trying to get better about it this year. Because you know me, you know how I am. I love technology. I love it. You know I do. There's a new tablet. There's a new Kindle. There's a new this or that. I want it. You know me. You know me. I'll try to get a good deal on it. I'll try to get it from eBay or something. But I want it. I'm trying to get better this year, and you've noticed, I think, about having like one item that does multiple things. Like, for instance, I really wanted and I saw you like my comment on the one Facebook group we're both in, but I really wanted a Switch Lite to take with me places, like go on trips or whatever, because I didn't want to take my OLED. But it's like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, just take the freaking OLED. If something happens to it, buy another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If something happens to the one you have, then you can get it replaced. I have this Switch Online subscription for $4 a month or something. I have the cloud save of my games, of like the games that I've purchased, as well as it'll save like your progress on the cloud. So if you did ever have to go to a new, like a Switch 2, or you have to replace your Switch, you can get your... It's like, I'm just going to keep the one. And if I want to take it with me, I'll take it with me. If I lose it, then, you'll figure it out from there. But having multiple things that do the same thing is, in my mind now, thinking back on now that I'm getting older, is kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's much simpler to just have the one device if you can.
And it's kind of like the same thing as, and I know I'm going off topic here a little bit. It's kind of like the same thing with the Kindles. I understand why people like Kindles. I understand it looks like a book. I understand you keep, but my iPad does the same thing. And I've put a matte screen protector on it, and I've changed it to where it's warmer lighting, so it looks like paper. And I put it in dark mode. You've seen it.
Yeah.
And I read a whole book on that, and I had no headaches, no issues. My eyes are fine. Like, I would rather have an iPad Mini to do that than have a Kindle that's all it does. My iPad Mini, I can do that. I can do my GoodReads on there. I can order books from Amazon on there. I can color if I want to on there. You know what I mean?
You can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and if I can even have Facebook on there. And if I don't want notifications from Facebook, I don't get them. Like, I'm more now where I want to have one thing. Like, one thing that does multiple things. Like you with your e-reader. Your e-readers have always been tablets.
Yeah, I like tablets a lot better, even
Yeah.
especially if you can find a blue light filter for them, because some people will say that's why Kindle's better, or because you don't
Right.
have that blue light. But I just like the tablet better because you can do all kinds of things, and it's just smoother, and I'm just used to reading on regular screens like that.
Yeah, so am I. So that's just what we've been doing. But that's how I feel about the Switch 2. Is like, am I really gonna want to get a Switch 2 like right away? Right away? Probably not.
That's what I was
I don't want to
thinking.
throw. I don't want to throw down $500.
It would have to be a really at least one amazing game that you would definitely want to play. I was thinking if like Mario Kart 9 came out, maybe.
If they brought that out and they only did it, here's the thing that I'm thinking though. If they bring that out and they only have it on Switch 2, it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of sucks. Because
Yeah.
the thing is with PlayStation, for instance, PlayStation has PlayStation 5. They still are putting out video games for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
They should take an example from that, because I don't think there might be games that you can only play on PlayStation 5. I don't know.
Well, sometimes what they've done before, and they've done this before with like Zelda games, where
Yeah.
for instance, Twilight Princess was both on, I think, the GameCube and on the Wii, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll do that, where they'll have it both on the previous console and on the current
That's what I
console.
think they should do. If they're going to do Mario Kart 9, it'd be an injustice to do it just on a $500 Switch 2.
And they'll probably make more money doing it that way.
Yeah.
Too.
They say, oh, if you get the Switch 2, then you get this added track, or you get, season pass or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like we bought for our Switch. And you can't get that but you can still play the game, the base game. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like, yeah, give a perk to somebody that wants to throw out $500 for a new game system. That's fine. But I just don't have the $500 to throw around, nor do I necessarily want to.
Right. And it used to be when I was growing up, there was so many amazing Nintendo games that I loved and I loved to play. But as time went on, it's been less and less. Like, there's not all that many Nintendo games that I've got to have that are amazing classic games. The only one I can think of really that's Nintendo exclusive is the Donkey Kong Country, the new one. I want to play that with you. Donkey Kong Returns, that's coming out. The HD remake, I want to play that with you. And then Mario Kart, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we like simple games. Well, I do. You like Zelda and stuff, which is more of like an open world type of game. Yeah. I like, this is where you go, or things that are very structured.
Yeah.
Like with PC games, I like Stardew Valley. It has a very, once you get past a certain point, it's not as structured. But like Stardew Valley is very structured in the way that you play it. Coral Island is extremely structured in the way that you play it. Like, here's the goals.
You were talking about how very similar they are to
They
Coral
are
Island.
Insanely similar. Coral Island is literally like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing had a baby.
Yeah, it's really
like
good.
Like with some of the movements and stuff, you're like, oh, like you're donating things to a museum. Very Animal Crossing coded. You have this farm that your grandpa very Stardew Valley. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of little things that you're like, oh, this is definitely like, there's basically community bundles, but it's like named as something different. It's very, it is a really good game, and I'm having a lot of fun playing it. The other thing too, though, with getting like a new system is the fact that I go through phases. I feel like where I'm like, oh, I love, like right now, I'm in the let's play the Switch before bed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in that phase right now where I just want to play games before bed and do all this stuff. And it's very relaxing. And I like it, but it's like, how long am I gonna do it? Do I need another console? Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I go in and out of stuff all the time. Like, we were playing that Royal Match game on the iPad, and we haven't played that in probably a week.
No, it got more and more difficult
And once you
to
get past
pass.
like level like 300, then it's like, okay.
Yeah, it used to be we were passing like 5 or 10 levels a night, and now we're lucky if we pass one a night. There's some
And
nights
sometimes we don't pass anything, and it takes like 4 or 5 nights to pass a level, and it's just not fun anymore.
yeah,
It's just like when you're playing with a dog. You got to let the dog have the bone every once in a while so that they keep wanting to play with you. If they're gonna lose every time, they're gonna stop playing. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it kind of became more. It wasn't paid to win very heavy at the beginning, but as we got to like level 300 or so, it became more where you could tell it was kind of encouraging us to you get
Pay
these
for something.
yeah,
Yeah.
even though we didn't, and we still were able to pass levels,
Yeah.
but it's a much more of a grind to pass them now.
Yeah.
Um, but
But
there's sometimes it'll be like that where you won't, where you'll play a game and it'll be fun at first, and then after a while you just, for whatever reason, in this case it's more geared towards pay to win. They get you interested in the game, and then eventually there
yeah.
are no ads though. The ad that showed up for it that got us into it was accurate. There are
There
no
are no
ads,
ads, and you do not need the internet to play it. But
and we are not sponsored.
yeah. But I feel like video games have always like I've always been around people that like video games. My mom's not a big video game person. She never really has been. But my dad was big into video games. He liked Mario and he liked Pac-Man. He had an Atari. Like he liked all that stuff. Like I think we had every video game system. You know, I don't think he ever had a Switch, but the Game Boys were his. He had his own 3DS at one point, the Mario Anniversary one, the big one, the
Oh, I
XL
remember
one.
that one.
Yeah, he had that for a while. Loved Tetris, was one of his favorite games, was Tetris. He had PlayStations. He loved Ridge Racer on the PS1. I used to play that game a lot too. Um, but you know, before me and Nick got together, I used to play a lot of Ghost Recon, Call of Duty I think it's Call of Duty Ghost Recon.
I think so.
I think it's Call of Duty. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. I used to play it, but it's been probably 10 years since I played that game. But me and my roommate used to play it all the time, my friend, and we would sit there for hours and just play the same map over and over again. To the point where we're like, we know where they're going to be. Because they're always here, you know what I mean? They're always in this spot, you know? And I mean, I love playing video games, but I do like, and I don't know if you have ever, like, played a lot of, like, multiplayer games, but I do enjoy it when you're playing with somebody that also wants to play the proper way.
Yeah.
Because, like I was saying with my friend, it was me and my ex-husband, and my friend and her husband would play all together. But her husband did not like to play. He would play like, oh, we're all on the same team, but you could also like accidentally shoot your other, like your team member,
Yeah.
and then he would seek us out and shoot us, even though we're on the same team. And he was ex-military, like in real life. So it made it kind of like, I like people that are gonna like, if you're gonna play the game, play it right, type of thing. And I like people that are gonna play it right, because I feel like for that it was like every time you would be revived, you would die again because he would shoot you again.
Yeah,
And it's just not fun.
It ruins it. There's a game called Agario where you play as different circles and you can eat all these dots and you get bigger and then you can eat other players and stuff. And I had so much fun playing it for a while, but there were so many cheaters on that game that would team up together on the non-team mode. There is a team mode that you can play,
right?
But there's a free-for-all, and it's supposed to be everybody against each other.
Yeah.
But there were so many people that would come in, and they would be teams together, and it would just ruin it for everybody. And I used to use a Game Genie, and I had a Game Shark, and cheating in games is okay with me if you're having fun,
right,
and you're not messing it up for anyone else.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you are not playing playing the game that the way it's not meant to be played can be fun and interesting, and it puts a new spin on things, and that's why I like using the Game Genie and Game Shark, and that's part of why I like mods so much. But when it ruins it for other people, when you're in a community game, it's different. It's not right to do
It's
that.
like, in my opinion, if you're gonna play for, like, all four of us are playing against, like, the bad guys or whatever, because it wasn't like we were online. It's like you're playing against a computer, basically. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to do it where you're shooting against each other and you're all playing against each other, then play it that way. Like, there is a mode that does that.
Yeah.
Why would you make it seem like we're all a team and then you're gonna, like, take somebody out for no reason? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if you're gonna play that, at least give everybody the option to say whether they want to play like that or not.
Yeah.
In my opinion. This is just my opinion.
Yeah, it messes with... I remember you and I would play the zombie mode in Call of Duty. I love the zombie mode.
That was fun. But we were playing together and we were shooting and we would yell at each other. They're over here. And yeah, it's fun when you're working together. That to me is fun. And I understand the wanting to race against somebody, or like we used to love, we'd do like 2 or 3 rounds on Mario Kart where we're racing against other people on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun too. That's fun too. The competitiveness of it's fun too. But the working together can be fun as well.
Yeah, the working together is usually the most fun, I think. Yeah.
That's why a lot of people say Overcooked is a good one for working together. And we tried that one.
Speaking of another cooperative one, and they just finished doing Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Oh my god.
Which is the original one was one of my favorite games of all time. And just with the graphics card today, I was doing a test on it. Got loads of FPS with the RX 700. I think it was over 100. I think it was like 300 frames per second. So I was so excited, and the level of detail and everything is amazing. But long story short, after 4 comes Resident Evil 5, and we co-opted. They're also thinking about doing Code Veronica. There's a debate on which one they're going to remake next. But I wanted to play Resident Evil 5 with them because I played it by myself with the computer so many times. Mm-hmm. And Michelle is a lot of things at once because she gets motion sick with 3D games.
I didn't get sick with that one that much. I get sick more when I'm watching somebody play it for some reason. Like when we were trying to watch Markiplier play Last of Us.
Yeah.
Remember I was watching that with you. We would sit there every night. We would like watch the video, and I was into it too. But then I'm like, Nick, I can't do this anymore.
And I don't know what it is. If it's a medical
either.
type of condition or what it's called or what it is. But that's why we play a lot of 2D games, especially if we play it together.
Yeah.
For some reason, racing games are fine for her in 3D.
Yeah. Some people say the farther away you are, too. So that might be why when I'm in bed and I'm playing Mario Kart, like we're far away from it.
And I know going upstairs in like Minecraft can trigger you too, as far as the motion sickness goes.
Going through the water where they're like bobbing. Anyway, go ahead.
But there's a part in Resident Evil 5 at the end where you're fighting, and the secondary character has to get up off this cliff. And when the computer player would play it, it would get up no problem, really quick, really easy, no problem. So I thought that's how it always was, whether you're a computer player or not, that it was a very simple, easy, you press A once, and then you're good, right?
Uh-huh.
And I've played this part so many times, 4 or 5 times, at least. And I was so used to it being that way, I didn't even think that there was another possibility. But if you're a human player at this mode, you have to button mash A as if your life depended on it. You have to... like crazy. And I didn't know that, and Michelle was trying really hard, and
what did you do, Nick? My mild-mannered, nice, innocent husband that everybody thinks that I beat the shit out of.
No.
Go tell him what you did to me, Nick.
I yelled at her, I think. I can't remember exactly what I thought she wasn't trying.
He goes, come on, you're not trying. I'm like, then you do it. And I gave you the controller, remember?
And then I was...
And then he's trying to do it. He's like, oh, shit. I'm like,
this actually is really difficult. Why did they make this part as difficult as they did? And I was like, this is supposed to be easy. And I was trying to explain to her so many times I played with the computer player gets up and no problem at all.
Like, we finished that game, though.
Yeah, we did.
That's the first game I ever finished. Ever in my entire life.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. A lot of times you can start a game, but it's tough for you to finish it
I
all the way through.
cannot. Stardew Valley, I think we've done pretty well. I don't think we've seen everything. I don't think we've done everything there is to do. We haven't gotten all the achievements, but we've gotten really far in that game.
Yeah, we haven't gotten all the walnuts yet on the island.
Yeah, we need to do that. We're gonna start playing that again soon, but we've gotten really far in that game. I'm proud of us in that game.
But if they redo Resident Evil 5,
I'll play it again.
you will, Beva.
Yeah.
They remember the conveyor belt part with the
Yeah,
zombie?
you almost yelled at me on that one too. You're like, you're going the wrong way. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here.
It's something. It's so funny because when you play a game so many times that you don't even have to think about it, it's second nature to you now. And all the routes and all the areas are almost imprinted onto your brain, and you forget what it was like when you first started it. And you didn't know all the areas, you didn't know the weapons, the enemies, all this stuff. You know pretty much nothing about how the game works, and it can be, the difference between those two things can be a bit frustrating sometimes for both players. But I tried to, over time, I tried to be more aware of that.
Yeah.
She was not, because it was her first time playing. And I have beaten this thing like 10, 20 times.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Out of all the games we've played together, what do you think is your favorite?
I like Stardew Valley.
I think Stardew Valley.
I think Stardew Valley is always gonna have a special place in my heart because I got into Stardew Valley when you got into Terraria, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, we've been playing Stardew Valley for a long time. That thing has a lot of content in it.
It really does. For the amount that you pay for it.
Yeah, it's like $24.99, I think, and sometimes you can get it on a really good deal.
Same.
And it's been a labor of love for him. He did it all by himself, and he's working on Haunted Chocolatier. Hopefully soon will be out. And
I'm excited for that too. Hopefully it'll be multiplayer too.
yeah. I mean, we've been playing Stardew Valley for what, like 5 years maybe? I don't even know when it came out.
Yeah.
But we've been playing it on and off for like 5 years. Like, I have over 300 hours invested in it. I have my one save. That's the one that we basically have been. I mean, we had saves that we did mods on and stuff, but we have never messed with this one save.
Yeah.
Like, we have never. We've gone into other saves and done other stuff, but I don't think we've ever modded this save.
If there is one mod that you ever do, it's a
tractor mod.
I highly recommend the tractor mod. It makes some of the more tedious parts of the game easier. Like, whether you're planting seeds, watering, all this stuff, you just ride along with the tractor. It replaces your horse. That part's kind of sad. But it replaces your horse, and you just ride over, and then whatever you have selected is what it does.
Yeah.
And in the caves, the winter caves, you can get so many winter roots by using the hoe, and then with the tractor, it just digs up everything as you go. It's so useful.
Tractor mod, highly suggest the tractor mod, but I think that may be like the only, and it's not on that save though, I don't think.
No.
Because I was so scared. I'm like, do not, whatever you do, like, this is our 300 hour save, do not mess with it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of mods because it can extend and increase the quality of life and just make the game better in so many ways. Terraria is an example of that, where there's so many amazing mods out there, both whether it's quality of life mods or game expansion mods. There's so many of those, and the same thing with Valheim. I haven't done that many through Valheim yet, but I've had so much fun with a lot of mods. I think eventually AI will help us make different types of games from different perspectives. Like, eventually you could type in, like, I want Ocarina of Time from Legend of Zelda, but in 2D. Now, there is a modder that made a 2D version of Ocarina of Time. I don't think it's a full game. But I think it'd be cool one day when AI becomes good enough that you can make all kinds of games, all kinds of different ways. Like, you could have Super Mario Brothers, but it's in VR completely, and you could jump through. And there's a VR thing where you could walk on tiles, There's tiles, and you can walk in place.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen
And
those.
there's the 360 treadmill type thing too. So I can imagine in the future you make Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario World, but you're in VR and you play through the whole thing that way. That would be awesome. You could play it that way, or if you want Super Mario Brothers in 3D, fully 3D, like you could do that. All
Yeah.
different. I imagine there's all different kinds of ways that AI can make games in the future, like 10, 20 years from now or something. Which would be interesting to see if that ever happens where it's customized to the person. Like, oh, I liked Excite Bike back on the NES.
Oh, I loved Excite
I
Bike.
know.
My dad loved that game.
Yeah, I played Excite Bike in 64.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. And but I think that's kind of like modding, but like really, but done by an AI where they can
Yeah.
like, okay, you put in a prompt and be like, okay, I want Excite Bike, but it's fully photorealistic graphics and everything, and the levels are like the original game, but it's photorealistic and
Could you imagine? That would
yeah.
be cool.
Or I want Twilight Princess, but it's photorealistic and it, you know, all this stuff, or you can, or if you like the Wind Waker cell shaded ones, there's some people who like that style better. But basically, you can customize it to however you want.
Yeah. I think that would be good too for like the situations like we were talking about. Now, if you have not played Stardew Valley through like, I mean, we're talking about getting to like heart events and stuff. You're not going to want to listen to the rest of this podcast,
It's a
probably.
bit of a spoiler.
It's a bit of a spoiler. I'm sorry if you're still here and you are playing it. But I said I was going to talk about this in a vlog, so I want to talk about it. It would be nice to, because I don't know if there's like mods like this, but like with Stardew Valley, I think they did a great job with that game. There's so much content in that game. There is so much content, so much storyline, so much where you're like, oh my god, and you feel bad for people. Like, I can remember in our first playthrough, I think we married Penny because we just felt so bad for her.
Yeah.
Or I did at least. We felt so bad for her because I feel like I started playing before there was even multiplayer yet.
Yeah, you did.
Like, my first farm was before there was multiplayer, and I was playing by myself, and I married Penny because I felt so bad for her. Because if you have not played the game, her mother, Pam, is also in Stardew Valley, and she's an alcoholic, and she's abusive. So I felt so bad, right? But the thing that and then there was another save, or the same save, but, like, the more hearts you get up with people, you get cutscenes. There's one with Shane, where he's kind of like he works at Joja Mart, and then he's kind of like, what would you call him? Like, kind of like an edgy kind of guy, kind of keeps to himself. He doesn't want to talk to you. He's always in the saloon drinking beer. And is a cutscene. It's about, I think it's 10 hearts or more, that he either ODs, I think, or tries to commit unaliving of himself or something like that. And it's a dark scene. It's very, very dark. But in the end, he's like, oh, I'm going to get better. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing that. And you're like, oh, and you do have this, like, emotional connection to these characters. Because, I mean, spending 300 hours with anybody is a lot of time. You know what I'm trying to say?
And these characters are really well done.
And they're very well done. And they have a lot of depth to them, in my opinion. And I'm like, oh, he's going to get better. And it would have been nice. And this is my only critique of the game. It would have been nice if after he has this epiphany of, I'm going to get better, I'm going to not do this anymore. His favorite gift was no longer beer.
Which it still remains that way.
Which it remains beer after he's had this epiphany of he's going to get better. He continues to go to the saloon and drink beer in the corner. Like, there's no change after these things happen. There's nothing that changes, really. There could have been I have a very easy solution. After he has this epiphany, he only drinks Joja Cola when he's in the saloon in the corner. Yeah. He has a can of Joja Cola in his hand. It wouldn't have been that hard to change that. I really don't think. And his favorite gift now is coffee. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to keep him drinking, okay, but let's drink coffee. Let's drink soda. Let's not continue to drink beer.
Yeah. And it shouldn't have been that difficult. After B happens, that all these things changes until B happens. Then those changes.
Yeah, I don't know how hard it would be. I've never coded a game before.
Yeah, but I imagine it shouldn't be too difficult. But I know nothing about coding.
I just wish that it would that part of it would change. That's the
Yeah.
only thing about that game that I'm like, it kind of gives you like, because you're so immersed in it, that kind of like, you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of breaks the immersion a little bit for that to
Yeah.
not change.
That's my only critique of that
Because there
game,
is
though.
another one that happens with Pam and Penny, and then things change after that.
Right.
Again, I don't want to spoil it, but a change happens after that event, and you think, which is more, I think, more complicated to do.
Right.
Whereas this is not all that much as complicated.
I
You know,
don't
remember they
what
were
you're
in a
talking
trailer
about.
before?
Oh, yeah. See, yeah, exactly. It would have been stupid if they were like, oh, they're in a trailer and now we're going to do,
Yeah.
I don't know, Fixer Upper Stardew Valley edition. And then they like, and you go visit the inside is still a trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense.
I don't know. It just was one of those things where I'm like, this one thing, if you could have just fixed this one thing, it would have been flawless. That really does bother me. I can't help it.
It bothers me
it's
too.
One of those things that it really does bother me because you're like, he's gonna get better and he's gonna do this and then he just goes right back to drinking beer and.
It's
And
still...
when I almost ruined.
Sorry.
Where does he work, Shane? After everything happens, he doesn't.
Know.
He just drinks beer in the corner. Like, what happens? Like, where does he go all day?
I don't know.
We're gonna have to check that out next time we play.
Yeah. But it's still an amazing game. You can spend thousands of hours on it.
Oh my. We have so much more we could still do. People, but I know that we're never, like, that's the other thing is, like, you gotta kind of accept when you're playing a game, you're trying to have fun, that you're probably never gonna get all the achievements.
Yeah.
Like, there's achievements on there with that freaking little game you gotta play in the saloon. We're never gonna get that achievement.
Probably not. No.
Where you get all the way to the end of the Gopher King or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and when I say 1,000 hours, I'm not exaggerating either.
No, I
literally
I don't even know how many hours
you can
I have
spend,
on that game.
On Valheim alone, I've spent 400 hours. On Terraria, I've spent over 1,000. And
I don't even want to know.
Stardew Valley could be the same. There's people, like, it takes you a long time to get through a full year on Stardew Valley. I don't know how long it is, but
341 hours I've spent
341.
on Stardew Valley. Wow.
And there are people who play Stardew Valley exclusively, like that's that's their main game that they play, and they spend hours and hours, and they're on like year 45 or something.
It's been out since 2016.
But there's some games that you pay $60 or more, and then you spend maybe 50 hours playing it, and then you're done. But you get a lot of value with a game like that for the amount that you pay for it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
$20, $10, $15.
There's no other game that I've played.
Same thing with Terraria too, as well. Like I've spent maybe I think $10, $15 on Terraria, and there's been free updates for years, and they won the Labor of Love award on Steam, and rightfully so. They should have won it more than once, in my opinion.
I've only played 57 hours.
But to this day, Terraria, in my opinion, is still the best survival crafting game. Valheim is turning out really good with the updates and stuff, but it has some flaws, and I hope they get worked out over time. And there's still the Deep North coming out later on, which I'm excited for.
There's glitches in a lot of games, I feel like. Like, people are talking about how many glitches there are on Coral Island, and I'm like, I haven't personally seen any, but I've only played 13 hours of it, which is crazy because I think I just downloaded that game like 3 or 4 days ago. But, and they're like, oh, it's a glitch, it's unplayable. Well, it depends on what you're playing for.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't call that game unplayable by any stretch of the imagination.
You've been playing it for a long time, and you love it so
I've been playing it for, like I said, I've been playing it for 13 hours, and I would recommend this game to anybody, like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, anything like that. It's good. It's a good game. It's fun.
Yeah, we definitely recommend you play with Coral Island.
Coral Island, Stardew Valley, Good Pizza, Great Pizza is a really fun one. Although that one, I don't like it when they're... I mean, all games I play, I'm going to have to look something up eventually. I mean, we used to live on the Stardew Valley wiki, trying to figure out people's schedules and where they were going to be at certain times. That's a quality of life update that, or not update, but improvement they made on Coral Island. When you go into the thing to find a specific NPC, you can just click locate. It tells you exactly where they are.
Wow.
That I like. Because I'm sure they all have schedules because they're NPCs.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to have to, when, like I do with Stardew Valley, go back and now I gotta look it up on the wiki on where is Demetrius on Thursday at 5 p.m. And you know what I'm trying to say? Oh no, well now it's closed. And so, you know what I mean?
That there are a lot of improvements that Coral Island has made over Stardew Valley in a lot of ways.
But I feel like that's a cop out too, because it's like they just played Stardew Valley, like, this is annoying, so let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they made it their own. There was this one game, I think it was called Super Zoo or something, that the art style looked almost exactly like Stardew Valley, and there was a controversy involving that. It was Zoo something. I think it was Super Zoo or I can't remember exactly what the name of the game was, but it looked really like the art style looked a lot like Stardew Valley, almost exactly. Whereas with Coral Island gameplay, a lot of the gameplay aspects,
Super Zoo Story.
Super Zoo Story, looks very similar, and it was controversial a while back that it looked a lot like it. But Coral Island has a very different art style to it. A lot of the gameplay elements and stuff is very similar to Stardew Valley, where you have a lot of similar things that happen. Or Michelle will joke about it while she plays. Oh, this sounds familiar to this.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Like, I'm
bundles
like,
and stuff.
look, Nick, it's a community center. It's not. It's called like a lake temple or something on this one. But I'm like, look, I got the community center bundles to, because it's easier to explain it that way too. To liken it to something that you know. You have to catch bugs and fish, and you donate them to the museum, which is Animal Crossing. You have bundles of items that you need for each season. You need to save stuff, and you got to take them and put them into these bundles, and that's basically the community center in Stardew Valley. Like, you know, there's a whole underwater section, which they now have on Animal Crossing, where you can go into the water and go underwater on Animal Crossing too. But it's, you know, they have like a recycling machine, and they have, a tap. You can put taps on the different trees, and it's all very, it's inspired by, but like you said, they've also made it completely their own.
Yeah.
You're on an island, which is Animal Crossing, but you know what I mean? And it's, the storylines of the characters are really good. It's very inclusive. Like, there's a character that only has one arm. There's a few characters that don't celebrate their birthday, which I believe is Jehovah's Witnesses, but do not quote me on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a character that's a mother, and she has stretch marks, and she wears like a athletic outfit. And I mean, there's a lot of characters that, there's one that wears the hair cover, a head covering. You know, there's a lot of characters that are very, very different and something I've never seen before. For instance, Raphael is one of the blacksmiths. The one that I told you, I look at his face. I like him a lot. He's so cute. But he's painfully shy. He has horrible social anxiety. He's introverted. He does not want to go to the party at the saloon. You know, like, and I just feel like there's so much inclusion of just people that are different. And they're all different and they all get along. You know?
Yeah, I like that a lot about the game. I'm hoping they'll have co-op eventually.
They're supposed to. They already have it in beta. People are playing it already.
Wow, they do?
Multiplayer is in beta.
Wow.
So I cannot wait until that comes out.
You know I will be
because
playing
I
that.
will be able to have somebody help me. Right? You guys can't see. We have a co-host.
There's Pete the poodle
Peter
on
the
bed
poodle is on bed.
right next to us, and he's so happy. He's wagging his tail.
You're a happy boy today.
Like winking. I want to play Animal Crossing as a poodle. I would like to play Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol?
I'll be ready on the double.
So cute. But how long have we?
About 44 minutes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I have a lot of games that I like. Time management games too. I've always kind of liked those. I don't stick with those, I feel like, as much.
Like the chef ones where you have to cook food in a certain
Diner
amount of time.
Dash was the first one I ever played, and I loved Diner Dash. That was where you were a waitress.
We did try Overcooked for a while, but that one wasn't quite as
I
fun.
know, and people are talking about how wonderful it is and how great, and I'm like, did we miss something?
It didn't. It wasn't that fun for
I don't
us.
remember us having fun playing that. Little Big Planet was another one. We were having fun, and then it glitched. Remember, we couldn't get past
Yeah.
that one part. I'm like, this is not fun anymore. We've had some games that we've had a good time playing.
What are some games you think that you'd want to co-op together? You think?
Coral Island for sure when that one
Coral
comes
Island,
out.
yeah.
Co-op.
And
I don't know what other ones. It'd be fun if they did some kind of co-op or multiplayer on Sims, like The Sims.
yeah.
Like, even if it wasn't like with you, if there was like an online, somebody tell me if there is. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen one, but like an online one where you could all play together with your different Sims.
That would be fun.
I feel like that would be fun to do.
I do
Sims
want
you
to.
can really mod.
I do want to play Donkey Kong Return. Oh yeah.
Yeah, shit.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Returns. I want to play that with you. The HD remake that they're doing for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I want so badly for them to redo the original trilogy, the Donkey Kong trilogy, that 1, 2, and 3. I want them to remake those. Maybe not quite in the cel-shaded Toy Story-esque graphical style that they chose to do with it, but make it fully 3D rendered like that, but in a different graphical art style. But and have it play where you can play at the same time, because that is the one advantage of the newer ones. Even though I don't like the art style as much, that you can play at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas in Donkey Kong Country, the original ones, you had to take turns. If one person died, you'd have to. Like, say I'm playing Donkey Kong and I get hit or something, then it would be your turn as Diddy. Whereas in the new ones, you can play at the same time.
Follow each other, yeah.
Yeah, I wish they had that for the originals. That would be awesome.
Didn't Mario have it where it was you switched off?
I think so. That was in the original Mario Brothers 2. Back on Super Mario All-Stars and all those games on there.
Yeah.
Pete's got the zoomies right now.
Oh.
But that would be fun. I wish they would have a really good co-op Zelda game.
Oh, that would be. I like playing co-op games with you.
Yeah, I do. I can't wait to play Resident Evil 5. They do the remake.
I'll play. What are they doing on a computer?
I don't know. That's the thing is, there's no.
We have PS4.
There's no news that I've heard of. There's rumors going around with Resident Evil 9, but as far as Resident Evil 9, yeah.
There's a 9?
There's a 9 one, yeah. Coming up supposedly, but there's some people are saying, oh, they're gonna do Code Veronica. They're gonna remake that one next, and some people are saying chronologically it'd be Resident Evil 5 next. Either way, I'm excited. I'm a big Resident Evil fan. I've been that way since the N64 with Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
And then Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. That was fun, and then Resident Evil 2 on the N64. That was fun. But I love Resident Evil 4 from the moment with GameCube back in the day, and I don't know how long it's been since then. But so I'm excited for Resident Evil 5. That's going to be fun. Hopefully they improve on the aspects of the original, make it more scary. Because that's one of the criticisms of Resident Evil 5 is they made it too action-oriented, and then Resident Evil 6 was even worse that way. And then they brought it back to the survival horror roots with Resident Evil 7. And then they added the RPG elements with the guns back with Resident Evil Village, and now they're Resident Evil 4 remake, which is one of the best balances of all those things. Survival horror, the scary aspects, the RPG element with the weapons that you can upgrade them. I love that part of it. I still think Resident Evil 4, the original one, is my favorite, but I haven't finished the Resident Evil 4 remake. I've been so busy doing other stuff yeah. But I can't wait to play Resident Evil 5 with you when it comes out.
5 is going to be fun again. I like shooting people. I like shooting games. The other thing is that I don't understand.
Sorry, but I'll
go ahead.
You go first.
Go ahead.
when you said that, it reminded me of Perfect Dark back on the N64.
Yeah.
To this day, it's still my favorite first-person shooter.
Oh yeah, you've told me that.
Now, gameplay, like the graphics and the frame rate and all this stuff, it does not look good at all. Even the remake that they did for the Xbox does not look good. They're doing a redo, not a remaster, but I forget what the term is. A reboot. They're doing a reboot of it, and hopefully it turns out good. But that was one of my. I've spent hundreds of hours playing the original one back in the N64. I love that game, especially the simulator mode where you play against other computers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you would have all these different weapons. I spent so many hours playing that game. I love it. So I hope the new one, the reboot, turns out really good. But I would love if there was a complete remaster of the original one, like a really good quality one where they go with Unreal Engine 5 or something. That would be one of those things I wouldn't give the AI prompt to do. Like,
Yeah.
remake Perfect Dark, but in photorealistic graphics, and it would be awesome. But I'd love to play that with you one day.
That would be
Perfect
fun.
Dark, yeah. That was awesome. What was the thing that you were
remember.
using? That's why I wanted you to go first. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Can't remember now. These dogs are being so distracting. But we've played a lot of games in our time.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing why I would want the AI thing to be where you can make any game is because there's so many amazing games that have the potential to be forgotten, especially because emulation, the physical copies and the physical things become less and less over time, and then you can't do emulation as well, because that's illegal, and a lot of times it is.
You know what other game I played when I was a very small child?
The fairy godmother one.
Yeah, the Mother Goose
The
Rhymes
Mother Goose,
one.
yeah.
If you guys remember that game and you made it this far into the podcast, let me know in the comments. Oh my god. You can still look it up and you can still see the pictures. And there was like Mary had a little lamb, you had to bring her back her lamb, and then she would give you the spoon, and you gotta take the spoon to whoever, and
See, if you wanted to play that game now without an emulation,
I couldn't.
it would be very difficult.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
That thing came on I don't know. I'm really aging myself here. I really am aging myself. That thing came on one of those 3.5 floppy, the big mother effers.
Yeah.
Not those little hard ones, the big floppy ones.
Yeah.
And you had to be an MDOS. You had to type in mothergoose.exp or whatever. You know what I mean, to get it to pull up. There was no icons or anything.
Right. And I just don't understand this middle ground where either they should make it available on Steam,
right,
or allow emulation to be a thing.
Right.
But why ban emulation if you're not gonna get any profit off of the?
They should remake it.
Yeah,
it was fun.
They should remake it. Yeah,
it was a fun game. At least I remember when I was a kid, it was fun.
Another old game I remember is the Crunchberry game.
That's the one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
the Crunchlings or whatever.
Yeah, you have to grow your own Crunchling and everything. And look at it now as an adult. It's very.
That's what I'm thinking too about the Mother Goose one. I'm like, if I could play it now, I'd probably play it twice just for the hell of it, and I'd be done because it was.
Yeah.
I was like under the age of 10.
Yeah,
you know?
I watched a video on YouTube of it just for nostalgia's sake, and it was like, oh, this is all this was.
It's like going
so
back
simple
and
looking
it's
at
like
it
going
now.
back and watching a show from when you were a kid.
Yeah, like Goosebumps.
Yeah, or like, what was that freaking Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yeah.
Like that stuff when I was a kid, I was like, oh, this is disgusting. And I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, really? I was scared of a sponge underneath a sink when I was a kid. This is
Yeah.
what I was scared of, or these lawn gnomes.
I will say, are you afraid of the dark? Or was it that or Salute Your Shorts? It might have been Salute Your Shorts. There was that Zeke the plumber guy. That guy was, I have to show you a picture. That guy was scary. He would scare me now. If I saw that in the dark.
Are You Afraid of the Dark was pretty good, too. I watched Tales from the Dark Side as a...
He's on the villain wiki.
Michelle got that for me for Christmas, Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah, it was on Salute Your Shorts. This is what this is Zeke the plumber, who would only come to do the plumbing at night.
Oh, he is creepy looking. The way his face with his eyes, it looks almost like a Leatherface type
It's
of
a
thing,
mask.
where he took somebody else's face and wore it. Yeah, he straight up looks like
And
a
he's got
leather.
a bloody nose and the thing, and I
You
don't
guys
know.
can't see, but if you look it up, it reminds me of a Leatherface Mario Brothers type of thing.
Yeah, that was. I said somebody on Reddit was like, it amazes me how many people confuse the Salute Your Shorts with Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because it was scary. Salute Your Shorts was not generally a scary show. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's where they're all at a summer camp.
Nah, I can't remember. I
I
thought it
know
was
the
a
theme
cartoon at
song.
first.
Camp, I don't wanna. We
Oh.
hold you in our hearts.
Hmm.
I know the whole. That was more me and like my ex husband's time because you're younger than I mean only by 2 years, but I don't that's a big difference. Like that's the difference
It
between
can be,
8
yeah.
and 10, you know. But yeah,
Do you think they're gonna come out with the PlayStation 6? And I think Xbox is gradually phasing out. If I
I
remember
feel
right, they're
like
not making it anymore.
PlayStation comes out with something every year. They're like Apple at this point. When did the PlayStation 5 come out?
I don't know. That's the other thing too. Do you think these consoles will just be able to keep going on, or do you think
Oh, I'm
eventually?
sorry. I must be. Have you ever had it where you look up when something came out and it's like some time just went like this?
Yeah.
It came out in 2020.
What did
PS5.
PS5 came out in
It says
2020?
globally, PS5 came out November 19th, 2020.
Wow.
It feels like it came out last year.
It does, yeah.
2020 was a weird
But then
year.
again, the last, I don't know about you guys, we talked about this before, where the last 4 or 5 years have seemed to have gone by in like
Yeah.
2 years. But
Guess when the Switch came out?
2015?
17.
Oh, 2017.
They haven't come out with something since the Switch, have they?
No. They've come out with different versions of the Switch, like the
Right.
OLED Switch, which you have.
Yeah, that's the one I have. And then they came out with all the different editions of the light.
Yeah. I wonder if consoles will always be a thing, or
I think
eventually
they're going to go more the way of the Switch. I think the Switch's design is impeccable. You can dock it. You can take it with you. You can take the controls on and off.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is like that too. The Steam Deck.
Talk to me about this.
She wants to buy the Steam Deck.
But at the same time, I'm like, would I really play Coral Island on the go? Probably not.
Probably
I like
not, no.
playing in here where I have my drinks and my can watch TV and my, you know.
Yeah, I think if I'm playing on the go, apps on your phone are good.
Yeah. Or I just take my iPad and play and read.
Yeah.
I like playing games when I'm at home with you. I don't even generally. I'll play Coral Island maybe like one day if you're not here, one in-game day, if you're which is like a half an hour. If you're not here, I like playing with you here because I'm like, look at this, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like playing when you.
He likes to play Valheim while I play.
Yeah, we do parallel play a lot, and I love that because we get to different parts of the game and we're excited and we're like, hey, look at this part. Like I was showing her Resident Evil 4 remake with the new graphic settings and all the stuff, and I was like, look at the wood grain in this part, and this part looks cool. And
it's good to have somebody that you can like that'll get as excited about your stuff as you do.
Yeah, I think that is a big difference in having a relationship with a gamer. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
But because they know what it's like. Whereas if you had someone who's not into games, even if they're supportive, it's not quite the same as someone who really likes it.
Yeah.
As much as what do you think? Like,
no, I agree because I've never been with somebody that likes gaming as much as you do. That's for sure. Like my ex-husband, he would play Mario Kart. He has a Nintendo Switch, but he doesn't even know where it is right now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's very different because there's something that, like, they literally, me and Nick have so many hobbies in common that we literally get excited about stuff together. And that's like, it builds like a whole other relationship it's like a whole other level. You know what I mean? Like, you and I are really excited about Onyx Storm coming out. That's a book, not a game. But you know what I mean? And like we like the same kinds of books generally. There's only one book that you read that I didn't. I tried to read it and I made it 4 pages and I was done.
Yeah, Interview with the
Yeah, I
Vampire.
couldn't do it. It's too descriptive, which is funny because I like Stephen King and he can be very long-winded too.
Yeah.
But this one I was like, I can't do this. But we like a lot of the same things. But I feel like it's not only the fact that you like a lot of, like, you like the same video games, you like the same this or that. It's not only that, but you get it. Like, I get why you would be so excited that there's a new expansion to Valheim or whatever. And you get why I would be excited that I found something like Stardew Valley. It's like playing your favorite game all over again, and it's better now.
Yeah, that's how
You
you
know?
described it. Is like a lot of times you wish, oh, I wish I could see my favorite video or my favorite movie for the first time
Or
again,
read my favorite. Like,
or
I
read my
wish I
favorite
could go
book
back and pretend I didn't know nothing about Fourth Wing.
and read
Actually,
it, go through it again.
no, I don't. But still.
Yeah.
I have 3 words. And I know this is a video game, but Jack freaking Barlow. Those are the 3 words. If I could erase any character in literature ever,
The way Iron Flame ended really
it's going to be
surprised me.
crazy. Onyx Storm is going to be nuts. We're
Like-
going to do a.
Like,
We will do a vlog about books
we
too.
do one about we
Or
will do
not vlog,
a
podcast.
podcast about books. But
But I want to wait until we're done with Onyx Storm to do that podcast.
the other thing about the idea of giving a prompt to AI and it can make a game for you just based on the prompt, having that idea in the future, is you can do, the possibilities are limitless. There's so many different ways you can go about it. For instance, and you can cross blend genres or games. For example, I want a Legend of Zelda game, but it's a first person shooter. Like, what if Link was Zelda was a first person shooter? Or what if you played Pac-Man, but it was during the zombie apocalypse, like Resident Evil Pac-Man? There's so many different combinations that you could go with things, and if that became a thing that you could go with, it just depends on your imagination. There could be thousands upon thousands of games that people could make, just creating prompts, if that becomes a thing 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Which I hope it does. That would be awesome. Can you imagine the amount of games you could make that could
The
be
thing is,
tested?
people are writing books like that too, and that's the scary part. Is because now they're doing, we're in schools. I don't know if you know this or not, but I've seen it on TikTok. Where now schools are doing AI checks on essays and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that.
people are saying, I spent 20 hours on this essay, and it's telling me it's 90% AI. When I'm the one that wrote it, I spent.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's the part that's kind of. But the interesting thing would be, like, if you did read a piece of literature, for instance, Fourth Wing, and you're like, I want to read Fourth Wing, but I don't want this to happen this time. And they could rewrite it without that one thing happening, and we know what it is. We all know what it is.
If you've read the book, you know what it is.
You know what I mean? And this didn't happen this time. Or, for instance, that Natasha Preston book I just read. We'll do, like I said, we'll do a whole podcast on this. But then I want you to tell me what the end of this damn thing would have been. Because there was no ending. Stuff like that, you know? But anyway.
One of the things that got me thinking about that was there's a video on YouTube where it's the Kakariko Village from Ocarina of Time, but you're playing Perfect Dark.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a custom level like that, and there's some mishmashes of games like that where will mix them. I'm trying to remember another one that I've seen. I can't remember at the moment. Oh, there's ones with Banjo-Kazooie mixed with Super Mario Brothers. Like, you'll be on Bomb Bomb Battlefield, but you'll be playing as Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, shit.
Like, stuff like that is what got me thinking, okay, they can do this with a mod already. I can only imagine 10, 20 years from now, with AI, you can make whole games based on prompts. That would be awesome. But we're already an hour and 4 minutes through. Is there anything you want to say before we end it?
Din-dins.
Yep. And it'll be interesting to see that with this AV1 encoder, to see how well this video did and how big of a video or how big the file size turned out and all this stuff. This is the first episode we recorded with it, so
I'm excited.
I'm excited. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Beba.
Thank you.
Love you both. Gamers Unite.
Gamer Jr.